Pregame.com.
Saturday NFL action. The Dallas Cowboys at Tampa Bay. I'm Marco D'Angelo. I'm joined with Brian Leonard. Brian, the first question I got to ask with this game, how does Dallas rebound from what's happened the last 2 weeks to them?
You can ask that about their entire season. They've had one of those years that every time they take one step forward, they take 2 steps back. It's going to be a lot going on in the offseason if they don't make the playoffs, I've got to tell you that.
Well, Jason Garrett, he's just, he looks scared. He looks like a deer caught in headlights right now with what's going on. And, he doesn't want to make a bad move, a right move. But how do you blow a 12-point lead at home with, a little over 3 minutes to go in the game?
Something they've done a lot of this year. In fact, I looked over my paperwork, and they haven't won a road game this year on the road in regulation all season long. They've had 3 games that have gone to overtime. 2 of them, they won the coin flip. The other, they lost the coin flip. But, this is a team right now that, especially away from home, they're really struggling.
Well, to tell you how bad Dallas has been, I mean, we always talk about line value, and we look at there's certain teams that always are inflated numbers just because of who they are. The Cowboys are always one of those. No matter how good they are, how bad they are, they're, quote unquote America's team. I think that ship has sailed, but they're still very popular at the betting windows. This team in their last 18 games as a favorite, 3-14-1 against the spread. Just horrible, money burners beyond belief. But on the flip side of that, they're facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have been one of the worst home teams ever. They have lost to the spread 20 of their last 25 games at home to the spread. So which one do you go with?
Well, Tampa Bay is actually 3-3 straight up at home, and they beat the Saints and the Falcons. So they have it in them if they play a good game. And you touched on the Dallas struggles as a favorite. 3-10 is actually a road favorite. 0-4 at home. They haven't played well at home. Cowboys have been outscored on the road 148-114. And now you're asking them to lay a touchdown here. I can't do it. As bad as Tampa Bay has been, that would be the only way I'd look at this game.
The situation for Tampa Bay, to me, this team has quit. But if they're going to show up, it's going to be in a primetime game, and that's what you have here. And so that's where the pause for me in even considering Dallas is that scenario. Where I'm looking at in this game, I'm looking at the under. And I think that because of the stuff I said with Jason Garrett, and he knows what's going on, and he needs to win, and he needs to get to the playoffs, I think he's going to play even more conservative, because it seems like when he opens things up, that's when things go bad. And you got to keep the reins on Tony Romo, because he can implode at any time. I mean, Tony Romo could have put the game away Sunday night. He had a guy wide open on a 3rd down play that might have went for a touchdown, but definitely was the first down. And the game virtually would have been over at that point. They would have been in field goal range, plus they would have had the ball yet in the final 3 minutes. So just, everything that's going wrong. So I think Dallas is going to try to play a conservative game plan. Their defense is not that bad. In Tampa, they're not good right now. Freeman's been that team, and he's banged up. There's another situation with a coach. I don't think, there's a lot of speculation if he makes the season. Here was a team that they ended last year on such a high note, a 10-win season. Everybody had optimism that you were going to, move forward, and they've not moved forward. They've went 3 steps backwards.
Well, the truth of the matter was the Tampa Bay had an extremely easy schedule last year. Now they've had an extremely hard schedule because of their success. I don't think he's done that bad of a job. You take a look at that Tampa Bay roster, and it's not loaded with all-star caliber players. I think if you compare apples to apples here, Dallas, when you take a look at Dallas's personnel, even though they may have a better record, they've done less with their personnel than Tampa Bay has done this year.
Absolutely, and Dallas is a team that every year is projected to be, a playoff contender. And with what Jason Garrett did the second half of the season when he took over for Wade Phillips last year, set the bar back high again, and once again they underachieved. I'm going to go with this game under. I think we're getting some value in the total because both teams were involved in high-scoring games last week. You had the Giants-Dallas. They went up and down the field. But we don't have Eli Manning on the other side of the field for the Tampa Bay Bucs this week. And Tampa Bay was in a high-scoring game last week. They gave up 41 points to Jacksonville. But again, if anybody just looks at final scores, that was totally misleading because they had 7 turnovers that aided Jacksonville. Because let me tell you, the Jacksonville offense isn't scoring 41 points on their own. So because of that, because it's a TV game and it's the only game, it's the last game of the day, you know that the public loves to bet the over, and Vegas shades the totals a little bit higher for these public TV games. I think the value's on the under. I'm going to go ahead and make Dallas-Tampa Bay my selection. I'm going under. I'm going to call for it 24-16 Dallas, but that's right around the point spread, but I think the value totally is on the under in this game. Any last thoughts, Brian?
No.
All right. Brian, you got anything big going this week?
I've got a couple bowl games up I've already posted.
There's some MAC
both
teams in the bowl.
some MAC teams.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah,
Well, for guys that don't know, and I want to give Brian props. I mean, there isn't a guy that knows the MAC better than Brian. I like to claim I'm Mr. Pittsburgh, and we've had great results. You've done phenomenal in the MAC this year, and this is not just this year. It's been in your history. Real quick, what's the current stats on the
10-1 in the MAC games? Obviously, it's not MAC games, but it is MAC teams.
Right.
And in fact, a couple of those games involving MAC in the bowls are playing a lot of teams on the West Coast that I'm very familiar with too. So I'm actually looking very, very much to this bowl season.
Well, I'll tell you what. Be sure to check out Brian Leonard's bowl selections with those MAC teams especially. He's Brian Leonard. I'm Marco D'Angelo. We'll be back with more videos. Stay tuned here on pregame.tv.